Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your friend Nathan, aka Duck. And I think the Dawn is going to like that I'm making this video. We're talking about some geopolitics and some US strategy. And we're trying to center around this theme that China has almost become the new United States in the sense that China is a nation that doesn't really tolerate and it's sort of vague what sort of aggression China is willing to tolerate. And in some sense, we might say it has been a lot historically, and so now it's none, in some sense. And so I just want to unpack this. And from a theoretical standpoint, this sort of bleeds into Victor Davis Hanson's school of thought called offensive realism. Now, if you don't know Victor Davis Hanson, I personally think underneath his hard exterior, there probably is a very nice and thoughtful man. But as it stands from a theoretical and a public intellectual sort of thinking perspective, he's kind of a jerk, a real jerk. Not a good guy. And offensive realism talks about how aggression actually drives the international arena. So how does this relate back to China, and how does this relate back to Donald Trump? Well, Donald Trump has a really hard job in that, outside of MAGA, outside of a lot of the rhetoric and the dollars and cents and the sort of partisan politics, he still has a country to run. He still has a foreign policy to manage. And so when we see the United States, interdictions, both in sort of Central Africa as well as, most recently Azerbaijan and Armenia, starting to bump over into that Asian peninsula. This is almost responding to what has seemingly been sort of a improvement of relations, which Victor Davis Hanson might argue has been shown by aggression between Russia and the West. And so if you start putting these puzzle pieces together from here to create that sort of graph of what's going on, we can see that, well, aggression between the United States and Russia has probably increased significantly in recent years. And in the East, at least publicly, it's still not clear what China allows and what China knows. Coolest story is probably Russia. It's not that cool, but they blew up a UPS station or FedEx station in Europe. That's pretty darn close. A lot of their dealings, what's it called, Rostex dealings with Venezuela. These are things that seem in almost all traditional contexts, like, the sort of dead drop KGB and sort of very central planned sort of stuff that we do. Aggression from Moscow towards the United States. And with China, we just still don't know. We don't know what the sort of response or acting out would be with any sort of offense. That's the video.